For anybody wondering who this family behind me is, this is one of my brothers. Cop right there in the black. Right there, you see him. Typical cop look. Officer Richard Ricky Wright and family, formerly of the Woodland Police Department, currently with the Sacramento Sheriff's Department. Those who do not know our story, here's a little backstory. He, along with 4 other officers, brutally and violently took my brother's life. And I will be clear to say Michael was targeted by these officers. I don't mean he was just targeted because of his skin color. Weeks prior, leading up to my brother's killing, this very officer threatened to take his life and he assaulted him. This took place in front of other people and it was documented. During our depositions, this effer tried to lie. Tried to say he never saw my brother, he didn't recognize him. He was questioned because, again, like I said, it was documented, and he was reminded of the documentation of this incident and how it could easily be found. And guess what? Oh yeah, I may remember him. Yeah, so he got caught lying. I sat through all the depositions with these officers, and honestly, just watching these pigs fumble their words, being caught lying, being caught up, it was fulfilling for me. It was a win. I take that as a win. With this fight, you guys, we don't get many wins. Fighting up against the system, it's hard. Wins for us, so we got to take those small wins. Don't normally sit there researching these officers. I've spent time doing it before, and even if I wanted to, there's nothing wrong with that, because there has been an injustice that has taken place and they got away with taking my brother's life. So coward Ricky Wright, I found their family's photos because Miss Carol Wright, hi Carol, we have 2 wonderful sons. Oh my God, Carol, is that what you think? That's really cute, Carol. I love my children too, adore and love unconditionally, but I'm sorry to say your son is a monster. He took my brother's life. He didn't just take it. He choked it out of him, his last breath, and he loved it. He enjoyed doing it. Why don't you ask his cousin, Krista Martinez? Do you know Krista? Yes, that's right. During that time when he killed my brother and took his life, while my brother was already restrained and in handcuffs when he came on the scene, Krista, his cousin, you guys, weird part to my brother's story, Krista was a ride-along. Yep. She saw everything. And guess what? Krista's, her own statement, it really didn't help her cousin. It actually helped us. Thank you, Krista. Thank you, by the way. And I am sorry that you had to sit there and see what happened, because that I've told other witnesses to these horrific type of killings that I can't imagine having to sit there and live with this, watching somebody die this way. I know what you heard and I know what you've seen. And I know what people have tried to say to justify what this monster did. But I think you know better than anybody else that he's a fucking monster. And look at this dude. Evil. Interesting thing about Ricky Wright, he actually spent many years patrolling in the community that he actually lives in. Hey, we don't usually see that. They're usually pretty scared, but Ricky Wright, he lives right there in Woodland, California, right across the street from a public park. It's actually a park I used to train a lot of my clients at. Another family photo. This is Heather Wright here. That's actually Richard Wright's daughter, who were the same year. I actually had a class with Heather. What do you know? Small town, right? I had a class with a daughter of my brother's murderer. And they're obviously one of these long-time Woodland families. You know, they probably have a lot of deep connections, and according to the photos, it seems like there's law enforcement all up in it. My family grew up in Woodland too, long-time Woodland residents, born and raised there. Makes me also wonder if some of his folks are the people that were hella racist towards my family growing up. Oh, you know, again, Richard Wright over here with his wife, Mary. It's a small town again. I know people who know them, and word gets around. You know, this 40% thing that it said about the police, it's true. They actually self-volunteered that information. So it's actually higher, guys. Mary Wright. At the end of the day, I'm still a woman, and you know, I hope you're okay too. I hope he's not choking you too. And there's also word around town about him not just doing that type of behavior to suspects or people he doesn't like on the streets, but also maybe to his own family, even potentially some of the minors. Again, sharing this because I have every right. My brother's life was taken in a horrible way. It wasn't an accident. It was intentionally done. He gets to sit here and smile with his family while my brother suffered a very violent death, while my family doesn't ever get to see him again. And everything that my family has been through, we as a family are reminded every day what they did to my brother, what him and 4 other cops together did to my brother. So It's nothing for me to add a photo of him and his family and to show you guys how horrible this justice system is. Again, him and the other cops involved, they lost summary judgment in our civil rights case. They lost their shot at qualified immunity, not once but twice, because they violated policies and because it was proven that they were wrong. And if anybody looks at the facts in the case, it shows murder. So Richard Wright, you may feel you have gotten away with this, but I know for a fact that I've made you feel uncomfortable with this fight, that you've had to worry about yourself, about your family, about your house,